We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
There's no combination of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song that I could sing, but I can try for your heart. And our dreams, and they are made out of real things, like a shoebox of photographs with sepia tone loving. Love is the answer.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is Julie Orlov. I am your host, and you are watching Pathways to Love. I'm delighted to be with you again here on a beautiful Friday afternoon in Southern California, and I hope wherever you are in the world right now is a beautiful day for you. And each week we come here and are dedicated to helping you create very strong, intimate, powerful, and transformational relationships in every area of your life. And I've been doing this work for over 25 years as a psychotherapist, executive coach, speaker, and the author of the Pathway to Love books and programs. And so I have a lot of years of experience behind me, and I am delighted to be of service to each and every one of you, because your relationships are really the key to success in every single area of your life. When it comes down to it, your relationship with your people really determine the quality of your life. So I want you to have great relationships. Now, I get a lot of emails every week, and people are writing to me. They tell me their stories, and they want some help and some answers. And I do my best. And for the most part, I do send a response to almost every one of those emails. But they're starting to accumulate. And I thought, okay, I think it's time to do it in a more effective way so that everyone can benefit from people sharing their stories. So we decided today to open this up to a question and answer show so that you really have a chance to ask questions. It can be on any relationship, or frankly, really anything in your life that is of concern to you and that you want to get the take of a psychotherapist. And of course, as our very wise co-host Stephen Tako is here, and we don't want to in any way minimize his input because he's very wise.
That's right. Very, very wise.
Yes.
Very wise indeed.
Yes, you're a great guy. That's why he's here. So today what I want to do is encourage you to call in at 323-247-7443. So I'm going to say that number one more time.
Wait, can I say it?
Oh, please do.
Okay. 323-247-7443.
Perfect. And you can also Skype in at LA Talk Live. I did open up my Facebook page, and I put a posting in so that people could write their questions in also on Facebook. And for some reason, it didn't take in Facebook. Well, you know how Facebook could be. So it got on my personal page, but it didn't get recorded on my fan page. But I will check still my fan page at the break. So if you go to the most recent post, just go under comments, type in your question, and I'll take a look at those at the break, and we can answer that. But there have been a lot of people, because I have been promoting this show for the last week or so, there have been a lot of people who have been writing their questions in. So we do have things to address, but we would love to hear from you in person and have a conversation. That's always fun too. So there we go. So
Cool.
Should we just get started?
Yeah. Why don't we go into the first question and then just kind of see where it takes us? Because I think we're gonna have an exciting show today. I always love the fact when we're able to reach back to all the people that depend on you and and my input. So it's nice to actually get the feedback, where people are saying, hey, you know what, we want to know these questions, and now to have the live audience out there. It's always nice to get a call as well. But even if we don't get a call, I think we have enough questions that came in. Oh my God,
if you can see, look at the pile. So yeah, we'll kind of take these one by one, and you're welcome to chime in too. So, please call. You can call with your own question, or you can call in with your own comment on another question, because everybody will be able to relate to these in one form or another. I can guarantee it. So I'll tell you, and I think I may have mentioned this before in the show, the most common email, the most common question I get has to do with an ex. Now, there's something I think about the letting go process that is
an ex-mother-in-law.
And yeah, well, wait till you hear what it's about. I hope it's not about the ex-mother-in-law, because it's always about having sex with your ex, and
well,
that would not be good. And maybe that's why you have an ex. So, yeah, we don't want to go. That's a whole other show. But so I do get a tremendous amount of emails, and the specifics are slightly different, but they all pretty much say the same thing. I broke up with somebody some months ago, and he or she came over, and it could be a divorce or a breakup of a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship. It happens in both scenarios. And so my ex came over, and we started to talk, and there's always wine, there's always alcohol involved, and we had a little bit of too much wine, and I ended up having sex with my ex. And then
you get that question a lot?
A lot. And I think it has to do, actually, I wrote this article called, "Is it a good idea to have sex with your ex?" I have a feeling a lot of them came from that article.
Wow.
So it may be a little bit of a skewed research. I don't think it's as big, but it's skewed in my population of emails because of that article. It just got a lot of attention. And fill in the blank usually is something like, I'm really concerned that he or she is going to take it to mean something that it's not. Or the fill in the blank is, now we're having sex. Is it the right thing to do? I kind of want him back, but he's giving me mixed signals. There's always a lot of that. So it's either this one-time deal that someone is concerned about, but more than not, it's amazing. There are a lot of people out there that after they break up or divorce someone, they have this kind of arrangement, and they have this casual, I put this in quotes, casual sex. And at some point it sneaks up on them. So usually it's what do I do? Now I'm feeling like maybe this isn't such a great idea.
When you say it sneaks up on them, are you saying that one of them is my microphone's on? Sounds kind of funny. Okay, so one of them all of a sudden they're afraid that one of them starts falling in love again. Is that
usually what? Okay, so this is usually it's I want them back. How do I get them back? I don't want to just be used, and I feel like I'm getting used. So it started out. It's like it started out like an okay idea,
right?
Like I can handle this, and the sneaking up is a part with okay, maybe I can't handle this. Or there's an agenda. And it's interesting because in the article, I spoke about the reasons why people have sex with their ex, because there's a number of reasons why people do this. And it is common out there. It does happen quite a bit. And the various reasons are, one, people are lonely, and it's hard for them to tolerate that empty space of having been broken up. And filling that space up with having casual sex with your ex, it's someone who's familiar. You don't have to go out and court someone, or you don't have to go through that process of, is this a safe person to have sex with? They kind of fill that emptiness, emotional emptiness, through sex. Some people use it just for the sexual satisfaction. They don't have a partner. They know this person in their past. They had, good sex in the past, and it's just easy to satisfy sexual needs. And other times it has a little bit more of what I call a psychological component. So if you were broken up, let's say we were together and you broke up with me.
She wish.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
So
I broke up with you.
Yeah, you broke up with me because I would never break up with you, Stephen. Okay. But I don't like the fact that you broke up with me, because now I feel like I lost my power. I'm insecure. Am I still desirable? What the heck is going on here? How dare you? How could you? I mean, really, how could you? Like, what got into you to let me go? I have no idea. So having sex with you, kind of being the seducer and getting you back in bed, is my attempt to regain my power, my sense of desirability. Yes, I have some control here now.
But he still finds me desirable.
All those things. And then another way that it's used, which I think is the most dangerous, is, let's say, I don't just want my power back, I actually want you back. And so I'm going to seduce you and have sex with you in the hopes that you will fall in love with me once again. You will realize, oh my God, what was I thinking? I can't live without this person. And the relationship will be reignited and start up again. which does happen. I mean, there are people that, that does happen.
Sure.
So, those are the reasons why. And kind of my take, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. My take is that you first have to be really, really clear about your agenda. Why are you doing this, really? And are you willing to accept that your agenda may not come to be? You have to really be careful. And because if you're doing this to get your power back, in some ways you are using the other person, and it may not work for them, because sometimes people will do it even when they know that the other person would want them back, but they just still want to feel powerful and get their needs met. They're kind of keeping that person pulled into something that they need to be away from. They need to really let go and be done with. So my take in is, one, you really got to get clear on what are your reasons for having casual sex or any kind of sex with your ex. And I also think you need to have that conversation with your ex about what their reasons are. And if you're both on the same page, I do say this, if you're both on the same page and you both say, look, you know what, I don't want to go out, I don't want another relationship, I don't want to work to get a sexual partner, we're comfortable with each other, let's just have this for sexual needs, and you're both really clear on that, you kind of have my blessing if you're both on the same page. But if you're not on the same page, and typically you're not, once you really get that, if I said, look, my real agenda is I want us to reconcile, and you come back and say, well, my real agenda is I just want to get laid, and I'm never getting back together with you. So as much as that may be your agenda, it isn't going to happen. In fact, I'm already dating somebody else, for that matter. Then it's, funny how my desire to do that may go down. I think that's where the integrity and the honesty comes in, especially since there's a prior relationship. I would hope that people would feel comfortable being able to have that kind of integrity and be able to have that kind of conversation. So it's very common. So I'm curious, one, have you ever been in this position? Have you ever had sex with an ex? And kind of what was that, if you did, what was that like?
No, I've never had sex with an ex. Well, I moved to California when I was 24, and then my first girl that I started dating, was the girl I ended up marrying. And so she's really like my only ex. I mean, I had an ex-girlfriend back in Ohio, but, I never went back and did anything with her. Mm-hmm. So I don't have that experience of going back to an ex. And I also I've never had like a one night affair either. Mm-hmm. So when I take a look at sex with a woman is like, a woman is a very special, she's like, I kind of put her up on a pedestal, like her having sex with her is supposed to be so special and so like, what's the word? I'm looking for it, but it's like, if I have sex with a girl, then it's supposed to be, in my head, it's supposed to be a girl that I'm supposed to marry, right?
Wow.
Like if I have sex with a girl, the only reason I'm going to have sex with her is because I think at some point I'm going to marry her.
So I wonder, see? Veneric, does that work the same way for you? I'm just curious about that. Do you have a mic on? I'm just checking the other male in the room, because there's probably men out there saying, oh my God, what planet is he from? I think it's lovely. I'm just saying it's probably not typical. I don't know. Okay, Veneric's getting himself mic'd
Well, it's probably
up.
why I just realized this summer it'll be 2 years. This summer was the last time that
you were with someone. So that girl that you got to marry better show up really fast.
And she was a nice girl, and it's funny. She was a nice girl. We saw each other for just like a little bit, right? So she's the only girl that other than the two affairs that I had, at the end of my marriage.
Yeah, that's another question.
Yeah.
Hold on to that one, because we'll get to those.
So, but once all that ended, and my wife and I tried to reconcile for 8 months, and then when that was done, I was like, I read a lot about what I had gone through, what I did, and now, like, you know what? Now, having sex with a woman is supposed to be very, very special. And it's like, I was seeing this girl briefly, and then I was going to tell her this one night while I was driving her home. I was going to drop her off, and I was going to say, you know what, I really like you, but I don't see this as being like a partnership here,
right. Right.
And but then she seduced me in the car ride home.
Really?
And then I became very weak.
It's funny how that
So
happens.
instead of going to her house, we did end up going to my house for a very lovely time.
Uh-huh.
And then I brought her home, right? But anyway, so I have my weaknesses for sure.
Did it work? Like, did you end up dating her for a while?
No.
Okay, so it didn't work, and she probably had some agenda. All right, Veneric, so let's hear this other man.
But we're still friends.
That's good.
I'm still friends with her. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, with me, I in the beginning, I was hoping that would happen, because the first woman I asked to marry me, she turned me down. So it was like, well, I'm not gonna wait. So.
Have you ever had sex with an ex?
No, because I can count on one hand how many women will actually say they were my girlfriend. They were just friends with benefits that I had relations with.
Okay, so it wasn't really the same situation. I mean, it's close, but not really the same.
Yeah.
I have done this, not often, but I have done this where I have been kind of seduced. That whole thing of, oh, let's just meet for lunch. Actually, I've been on both ends of this now that I think about it. I've had this where, let's just get together and talk. I haven't seen you in a while. They want to debrief the relation. That whole thing. Let's just talk about put things closure. That big thing on closure.
Right.
And his agenda all along was to get me in bed because I also have my weaknesses. And he pulled me, and his agenda was to pull me right back into the relationship, and it worked for not long, but it worked. And I think there was a part of me that was resentful, and there was a part of me that was aggravated with myself more than anything, is what happened to my boundary and keeping my boundary. And it was okay for me, but it really wasn't okay for him. And then I have to admit, I had this one crazy relationship, and I just felt like I didn't have the control, and I was just so determined to seduce him and win the day.
Right.
And that that didn't work out too well. So I think
you seduced him, but you didn't win the day.
No, but actually, thank God I didn't win the day, because that would have been a really bad thing. And that's the other thing. I mean, there's. I'm going to move into my next question, because this is actually a perfect segue into this, because a lot of people just suffer when they let go of a relationship, and so they'll write and they'll say, "How do I get him back?" or "How do I get him to love me?" So many, they start dating and they really get into the guy, or the guy is really into the girl and they really want it to happen and it's not happening. And so they'll email me saying, "How do I make this happen?" Always a red flag when I hear this. How am I going to make this happen? And my response really to everyone that is dealing with those feelings is that if you have to make something happen, it's not worth happening. You have to really get that. And what fascinates me, and I think we talked about I don't know which, probably on a few shows this has come up, so it's coming up again. It's not about getting somebody to love you. It's not about manipulating. It's about taking your time and first seeing if they're worth you giving your love to, giving your heart to, giving your soul to, number one. And number two, you want somebody who is really excited about you in return, who demonstrates that excitement, and I want to get to know you, and I'm excited to get to know you, and you rock my world right now, and I think that was from a reality TV show. Someone says you rock my world.
Aren't there like a lot of books though on how to make it happen, how to land the right guy?
Yeah, I can't stand them. Honestly, I know there's a whole industry out there of people that just love to sell you on this notion, because they want to just feed into that just longing and desperation that, oh, I finally met someone I'm excited about, and why isn't that person excited about me, and how painful that is. It's very painful. Nobody likes to feel rejected. But the reality is that you just don't want to go there. If you're having to work to get somebody to, if you find yourself trying to manipulate, control, oh, I'll just run into her, I know where she hangs out with her friends, or okay, if I play hard to get, he'll start to want me more, or if I do this. Two human beings have to be who they are.
I have to say I've been in a weird situation, like I don't like being alone, I don't like being, I have a lot of friends and stuff, but I would much rather have a significant, woman in my life. But like my sister for St. Patrick's Day, for St. Patrick's Day, we went to this country bar, right? And I'm like, I like some country music, but I'm not really into the whole two-step country bar scene, right?
Right.
But I go, despite the shirt that I'm wearing today. But I go there, right? And I'm watching people, and she's like, oh, she goes, Steven, she goes, there are so many women here that would love to dance with you. Just go ahead and ask somebody to dance. It would make their night. There's so many women, right?
Right.
But I'm like, just like, because I have in my head that's like, if I ask a girl to dance, it's gonna sound crazy as I say the words here even, but it's in my head I'm thinking, as I see the girl that I want to dance, is this a future possible wife for me?
Oh yeah, we got to work on this.
And it's like, I know that's not, I know I should be like loosened up a little bit more and just like, ask. And I end up, and I finally got because I as outgoing as I am, right? I'm shy when it comes to some women, right? Sometimes, like, if I know right away, it's like, oh wow, I'm going for this, right? But there's other times where it's like, gosh, I'm not sure. So I don't want to all of a sudden start dancing with some girl, and next thing you know, she's interested in me, and I only wanted to dance with her because I wanted to dance. I'm not really interested in your looks, I'm not attracted to you. This isn't going anywhere. It's almost like this dance is like a one night stand to me.
Yeah, you're putting so much pressure on any interaction.
So I finally, she convinced me to ask this one girl to dance, right?
Okay.
That had sit next to us, right?
Okay.
I asked her to dance, and she said no.
Aww.
And I was like, you know what? And then it was she was like, I don't know how to dance, I said, I don't really know how to do these dances either, come on, we'll just have fun, right?
Right.
And I'm like trying to pull her, and she's laughing, she's like, no, and I'm like, all right. So anyway, so then eventually I caught this one really pretty girl that was there, right? I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go ask her to dance, right?
Okay.
And then I saw that she had a wedding ring on.
Was she dancing though with other different people?
Well, I was watching her for a while to see, and I couldn't quite tell, right? It didn't seem like she was, right? So I said, oh, she's got a wedding ring on? Shoot. So I went around, and I'm like standing in front of these other women. I finally asked like this other girl who happened to be sitting there, that didn't look too short, to dance with me, right?
I would be rejected.
And then she gets up and like dance with me. I realize she's like, like 60 or something, right? And I'm 47. It's like, so I'm dancing with her, and it seemed awkward, whatever, and she wasn't as friendly as I thought that she was, but I don't know, maybe she was feeling kind of strange too, who knows. But I did eventually ask that girl to dance, the one with the ring.
Right.
And we had a really lovely dance, right? But I said, so where's your husband, right? And I was hoping she was going to say, well, I actually just wear the ring so guys don't, come up to me. But what she said was, oh, he went out to get pizza. They're like, oh, okay. But we had a nice dance, and then she goes, oh, where's your sister? I want to meet your sister. So anyway, but it was nice. I don't know why I went to the whole story, but yeah, I think I have this thing where it's like, geez, I don't even want to get to know a girl I don't even want to get to know her that well, or dance with her or anything like that, if I don't think that we're going to go somewhere with this.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think a lot of people suffer from that. They suffer from that they put so much pressure and expectation, and everything has to lead to something. I really think people have lost the art of just having fun and just getting to know people in a very fun, non-pressured, no expectation manner. And dancing is like the perfect place to do that, because
and I agree with that, because when I used to go to clubs, that was to dance, and that was it. Every now and then, if I saw a woman that caught my eye and I start conversating with her and see where it went. But other than that, it was to go do that because it's so difficult to try to start a relationship in that type of atmosphere for me.
Hmm.
That is, for somebody else, it might be something different. But for me, because knowing that the woman on the other side is probably thinking, I'm not here to try to get picked up, starting a relationship anyway. I just came out here to have a good time and to dance.
Well, I feel like if everybody just relaxed and just wanted to enjoy and get to know people, not as potential mates or spouses, everything would change. And I'll put this out there on behalf of all the men. Ladies, if a man asks you to dance, it is not an invitation to go home with him. It's not an invitation to ever see him again. It's an invitation to go out and have fun. So lighten up and say yes, because you will have some fun. I mean, unless he's got, some weird, I don't know, wounds that are oozing all over the place. Other than that, like, forget it.
Yeah, I hate rejection.
And for the men out there, okay, now I'll help out the ladies. We love to dance, and usually nowadays it's pretty, I think, acceptable for women to ask a man to dance at most dance places. But still, I know, but we still love to be asked.
Bra burner.
And if you're a man out there, I'm just so rebellious. It's that rebellious streak in me. Wild. Okay, so if you are a man and you're at a dance place, obviously I'm hoping you're there to dance and have fun. If you see a woman who's sitting down, who's tapping her leg, or who looks kind of like, oh, is anybody going to ask me to dance? I don't care if she's your type or not. Go ask her to dance, because you're going to make her night. You're probably going to have a really great time. And again, it doesn't mean that she's the one that you're taking a number. You don't need to take her number. You don't need to do anything. You just need to have a good time dancing. So I really think we've got to lighten up.
Can I piggyback on that?
Yes,
for the
sir.
fellas too? And if you see that certain woman tapping her leg, she don't have to be, the most beautiful woman in the spot, to you or anybody else. But there's other women that's watching that. So if you go over there and ask that certain female who may not be quote unquote that attractive, and you dancing with her, the other ones who are quote unquote hot, looking at that, he don't care who he dancing with. He dancing just because he wants to dance. They'll get up and dance with you instead of you taking that long walk over there to ask that so-called hot woman to dance, and she says no. Now you got to take that long walk back.
Yeah, everybody has to just kind of get over themselves, for goodness sake. You got to be so careful not to decide what value someone has anyways by their attractiveness. And I think you're right, Veneric. I think any girl who sees a man ask not the hottest woman in the room to dance, his attractability has gone up immediately, because we've already decided then that he's not shallow, because nobody wants people who are shallow on either side of the street. So yeah, I think that my advice is really just shed the expectations, get rid of all this pressure that you have to meet the one. Really, life is too short. What you actually need to do is have fun. That's really what it's about, and enjoy the company of other
people. I think dance clubs are kind of tough to meet. It's tough to meet girls there anyway, because it's so loud and you have a hard time talking.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't matter where you are in life. I just think, because if you're feeling pressure wherever you are, or if someone's, let's just say you're in line at the grocery store or something, and a woman it's a long line, and she just starts chatting with you. And if you're thinking, oh, does she like me? Do I like her? Is she trying to come on to me? Oh my God, I don't want her to think I'm interested in her because I don't think she's my type. I mean, my God, you're just two people standing in line making a nice connection in the moment. And why not enjoy that and not make it have to mean anything? And that's kind of my message to the world today.
Well, yeah. Not to cut you off, Stephen, yes, because that happened to me the other day. I was on my way home from school, and I was at downtown LA waiting for the train going towards North Hollywood, and a confrontation argument happened, and the crowd started looking, and this one particular woman who was standing next to me, she went over there to try to see what was going on, and she came back and she gave me that look, like I was like, yeah, and we just started talking about, I said, If people was out about to fight and people running to the danger instead of trying to get away from the danger, and we just had a nice little conversation. We both got on the same train. She chose to stand near the door, and I sat down, and she didn't look at me, and I didn't really look back at her. We just had that one conversation.
This reminds
me. You didn't have sex?
I wanted to, Stephen, but it was too many people around.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna end this segment with such a sweet story that this brings up for me. So I'm gonna share the story, and then we'll go to break. And before we go to break, we'll give the number out again. But I'll share. Let's just talk about just human beings and the power of connection. All right, these guys have to get sex. Okay, this is a sweet story. Okay, settle down. Okay, so I used to run. Well, I still run every now and then, but I used to run regularly on the Strand. I lived near the beach, and I used to run on the Strand. And there was this beautiful older woman, probably in her 70s, really the shortest little, petite little, cutest little thing. And she was all bundled up to protect herself from the sun. She had the gloves and everything. And she walked every day, okay, while I was running. And so every time I passed her, every single time she would say, "Have a great run." Or she would say, if I was walking, then have a great walk or have a great day. And she did this to every person that she met. And there was such warmth and genuineness, honestly, in that statement. I used to say, "Thanks, you too." And this went on for probably a few years. And I remember then one day I'm running, and she was walking with a friend that day, and she was immersed in this conversation, and I didn't get my have a great run. And I felt sad. I know. I was like, I really missed that because I felt a connection with her that in this odd kind of way. So about a few months later, I was walking and I ran into her and I said, "I'm going to stop her for this time." And I said, "Do you have just a minute?" And she says, "Sure," because she's a very friendly woman. Mm-hmm. I said, "I just want to let you know that I've been running here on this Strand for probably 3 years now. And every time you pass me and you give me that, you have a great run or have a great day," I said, "you bring a smile to my face every single time. And when you're not here, I kind of miss that. And I just want you to know the kind of impact that you're making on people's day. And it's really special. And I just wanted to acknowledge you for that. And thank you for doing that because I love it." And she was welled up with tears. And she says, "I can't tell you how much that means to me." She says, "because it genuinely comes from my heart to want to just make someone's day a little brighter and connect with other human beings in the world." She says, "Oh my God, I'm going to go home. I'm going to tell my husband what you told me." And I in turn made her day that day. And then
you had sex?
No.
Where is this heading? I don't know. I don't get
it. If it's not heading, okay, really, the man who has to only have sex with the woman he's married now, this is what happens when you don't have sex for God knows how long.
Sorry, okay. I ruined your beautiful story.
It was such a beautiful story. Okay, but to me, when we talk about relationships and community and really what this show is all about, that's kind of what it's about.
Yeah,
it doesn't have.
I do the same thing. When I pass people, I like to give them a smile. And even if I get one back or not, whatever, or I'll say, "Hey, how's it going?" If I'm biking or I'm running, it's the same thing. And I think it's so nice. It's that human interaction. You might never ever see this person again, but I would miss that too. I would miss it if I ran and where's that lady?
Well, I understood when she wasn't there, but the day when she was there and she was too busy to sound, was like, "Hey."
Hello.
Exactly. I almost was going to turn around and say, "Excuse me, I'm here."
Yeah. I won't be ignored.
Do you not know we have a relationship now? So it's very funny.
Will you dump me for this guy? Come on.
All right. So on that note, we're going to take a short break. Again, the studio number is, go ahead, Stephen.
323-247-7443. Give us a call in a couple minutes.
All right. You're watching Pathways to Love with Julie Orlov. Stephen Tako is here with me, and we will address more relationship questions when we get back. See you in a couple minutes. Take me, but the moment you appear, you wake me out of the slumbers of my head, from the slums of loneliness, and there's no conspiracy
you suffer from degenerative diseases such as high blood pressure, diabetes, fibroid tumors, high cholesterol, genital herpes, or a plethora of other diseases that rob you of a quality life? If so, then visit the website of herbalist Tahuti Ma'atra at dhealthstore.com and open the door to natural healing at an affordable price. dhealthstore.com has over 1,800 products created by herbalist Tahuti Ma'atra, specifically designed to help you heal the natural and safe way. At dhealthstore.com, you'll find everything from herbal formulas and cleanses, such as Tahuti's famous full body detox, as well as herbal teas, extracts, natural body butters, lotions, creams, children's products, hair care products, and of course, sexual enhancement products for both men and women. So visit the website of Tahuti Ma'atra, dhealthstore.com, or call toll free at 1-888-823-9416. dhealthstore.com.
Are you ready to enjoy the Maui lifestyle? You can have it all by owning real estate on the Paradise Island of Maui. Dennis Rush, a 22-year Maui resident and real estate broker, brings his wealth of experience and market knowledge to add value to your Maui real estate understanding, providing a level of service as unique and exceptional as the island of Maui itself. The magical island of Maui was voted the most exclusive resort island in the world by Condé Nast Traveler, and keep in mind, Maui is only a simple, non-stop flight away. Hawaii Business Magazine Top 100 Realtors awarded Dennis Rush the 2011 fourth top realtor on the island of Maui. Go to www.dennisrush.com to view all of the amazing properties currently available in the Maui MLS system. Whatever your needs or desires, Dennis Rush will provide a private consultation for any Maui properties your heart desires. You will be in good hands. Once again, go to www.dennisrush.com. That's www.dennisrush.com. Contact Dennis today to start your Maui lifestyle now. Dennis Rush, proud sponsors of the Dawn Christie Show and LA Talk Live.
Okay, now I'm on. Welcome back, everyone. You are watching Pathways to Love. I am your host, Julie Orlov. I am here with my co-host, Stephen Tako, and we are having the shrink is in question and answer session today, which I'm finding actually quite fun. What do you think, Stephen?
I think we're having a really good time.
All right.
So if you've missed it so far, you can go back to iTunes, or how they pick up the show.
Well, they should just go on LA Talk Live, go to the Pathways to Love show page, and you can watch any archive show, including this one.
Yeah, we've been doing this since October, November?
1st of November.
Yeah, every Friday.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of shows that you might have missed. So
yeah, all good stuff. All right, so I have so many questions to choose from, but I'll pick this one because I think it's actually an important question. And the question came in from a woman, and she said, my husband had an affair 10 years ago, and I'm still having trouble trusting him, and I'm still feeling paranoid, and I'm having trouble getting over it, and I'm not too sure what to do because now it's starting to create tension in the relationship because her husband is like, come on, it's been 10 years, give me a break already.
Right.
Do we need to keep bringing this up? And it's a very, any kind of betrayal is a very, very painful and wounding experience in a relationship. And it does a lot of damage. And it happens. People aren't perfect. I mean, an affair is a pretty big betrayal, but people are betrayed in many different ways all the time in relationships, depending on what they have a level of trust about and how that trust has been broken. And so this is my response to this particular question, and then we can open it up. But first of all, I want to tell couples out there who have experienced a betrayal that the average length of time for healing in a couple is 7 years. That's a long time that it takes to kind of heal. And it's not that you're at year 5 at the same level of hurt and pain that you are at year 1, but it can take that long to rebuild trust to where it's at like 100%. It doesn't have to take that long. So I just want to let couples know that if they're struggling and it's something that occurred even a year or 2 years ago, it's not uncommon for that struggle to still be present.
So the average is 7 years, so it could still take 10 years?
It could. I mean, usually it's, maybe average isn't the right word. It can take up to 7 years. I think when you're at a 10-year mark, even if you're at a year 4 or 5, I'm just going to give some helpful hints to kind of deal with the healing process as a couple, regardless of how long it's been. And I don't want to, we could go into the whole conversation about what led up to the affair, because affairs typically don't happen in a vacuum. So there is either something going on in the relationship itself, or there's something going on in the person who is having the affair. They're working out a personal issue, or a relationship issue. And so I don't want to disregard this, but for this conversation, I want to talk about, okay, the betrayal occurred, and now, because you dealt with the issue in that way, now there's a whole other woundedness that has to be addressed. And it's going to be important for the person who did the betraying to be patient, because there's a wanting that's like, okay, I admitted it. I'm bad. I'm recommitted to this relationship. Please don't punish me forever. Like, they want it to kind of be done. Also, they want it to be done because no one likes to really get in touch with how much hurt they caused somebody that they love. So there's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of pain and wanting to avoid their own feelings. And nobody likes to be beat up and feel shamed, over and over again. So that's a lot of what's occurring. Now, if you're on the other side of it, it's going to be really important for you to be clear and communicate with your spouse what it is that they can do that will help you heal. Okay. And in the beginning, I tell the person who was fooling around, be prepared to be highly accountable for your time. And your spouse needs that in order to start to rebuild trust. How can you're not trustworthy anymore.
Right.
That's the reality. And
you've lost the privilege of
you've lost exactly
secrecy or whatever it is.
Or empty time, privacy. You've lost that right. And a lot of people don't get that, and they don't want to really deal with the consequences of their actions. And that's one of them. So you need to be very accountable, and you need to go above and beyond to really make that spouse know you're fully committed and taking those small steps to make that get that intimacy back in the relationship with the person that you want to stay married to.
Makes
or stay
sense.
with. Yeah. And now, if it's been a long time, like what I would suggest to this person, this woman who wrote in, you need to take a look is there really anything going on still that would necessitate a concern? You want to do like a reality check. Is your husband, still saying, I'm working late, too many nights a week, and you don't think he is,
Especially because he's retired.
Right. Right. That's a bad sign. You're so bad. Okay. So you got to really take a look at those behaviors.
But like you said, it doesn't happen, outside like the vacuum, so it's like, so all this stuff has happened within the marriage, and that's why he feels the need, or she feels the need, so to go out somewhere, because things are not happening the way they should at home. Right. Mm-hmm. So
Well, forget the word should.
Okay.
There's something missing.
Something missing.
For that person, or there's something missing in that relationship that they're going elsewhere to get.
Okay. And so if 10 years has gone by and this woman is still concerned about it, is she paying close attention to what was missing before? And now, because, people start putting stuff on autopilot again, mm-hmm. And they see, those, old stuff starts creeping in again. Old habits come back.
Yeah.
So what do they do if they're thinking this? What do they do about that?
So many things where she was feeling okay, and then all of a sudden she's feeling she's getting worried. She's seeing new signs and all that. There is nothing that replaces communication. It's cliche. A good relationship requires good communication, but it's very true. And what I get amazed over and over again, how much people will live in their head with all this stuff. And I'll work with them and I'll say, have you asked? Have you checked in? Have you said, how are we doing as a couple? That issue that we had before, how is that going on for you? This is how I feel about it. You have to have the conversation.
It's a scary step, and I bet you people, just like people said, I've heard people say they don't want to get tested for cancer because they don't want to know if they have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the same thing. There's a cancer in this relationship, and they almost don't even want the diagnosis because then they could just kind of go along and hopefully, things will be okay. But they always have that awful, ill feeling.
Right. And that's why, it's a good point because people go into denial because you're right. If they really face, quote unquote, the diagnosis, their next step in the thought process is that the relationship will die. They'll have to end. But see, my take on that as a therapist is that if you catch, we'll use your analogy because it's a beautiful analogy. If you catch the cancer early enough, the prognosis is better. Mm-hmm. Because you can intervene quickly and before the cancer grows so much where the relationship becomes almost irreparable. So,
right.
That very thing that you're scared of, you can create without even knowing it. But so having those conversations, asking those questions, doing a lot of reality testing and understanding that it almost feels like if it's gone on that long, it has a flavor of like post-traumatic stress disorder. Like there's probably something that's triggering this woman's paranoia, concern, the thoughts about, oh my God, he's still, that hypervigilance. There's probably something that's triggering it. So I would suggest to her that she take a look. Really, is there anything her husband's doing? And if not, she's got to own it. She still has to get her anxieties together. And if there is something he's doing that's triggering her, then she's got to go to him and do the reality check. I know that I noticed that you're taking off on the weekend and you're gone.
But isn't the guy just going to blow her off anyway? I mean, if he really is into this affair again, isn't he just going to not communicate? I mean, how do you get through that?
I think it depends on the person. You'd be surprised how many people that if their spouse pushes it and says, I want the truth, tell me the truth now, how many spouses will eventually say the truth? And, that's a really tough one. I think that's a really good question. How much do you there are people who hire private investigators. I think there are reality shows on this whole thing. Oh God, don't do that. Don't go on a reality show, please. But, I know that feeling of like, something's wrong and there's a disconnect between what your gut's telling you and what your spouse is telling you. And it can easily trigger, this is where some people can get crazy in the investigation mode. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Have you ever watched Breaking Bad on Netflix? I'm on Netflix now, but it was HBO. I think it was HBO or Showtime series. I'm not too sure which one.
Was that like the whole like mafia family?
No,
type of
he was
thing?
a high school chemistry high school teacher turned meth
Oh,
producer.
no, I haven't seen it.
Okay, but the whole point of what was fascinating to me about this show and this marriage, because his wife, is he was just gone. It's a complicated story. I won't go into all the details if you haven't seen, but he was gone for long periods of time, and she was kind of just trying not to go there. And I remember I was watching it with my guy, and I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I would have this thing in bed. You'd be so outed by now. This would be done. It would be a done deal. I would be in full investigation mode. Right. I would know what you were up to. You know what I mean?" So I think you need to decide what is comfortable for you. Like I would need to know, and I would need to do whatever it took for me to feel like, okay, the dots connect and I feel settled. Other people, they don't want to know. You know what I mean? They just don't want to know. And that's, you know what? If that's what's comfortable for you, everyone has the right to make those choices.
Well, when my ex-wife and I were trying to reconcile,
mm-hmm.
Certainly I gave her plenty of reason to not trust me. She found out, well, because I told her, that I was with these other two women. Then, and then I ended the marriage.
Not you.
I know.
Oh man,
this is a few years ago.
This is a sweet man who is only going to sleep with his next wife. There's the other side. Okay.
Yeah, but I was banging two chicks on the side, and. God. Anyway, but no, so what happened was though, like, okay, so these two women, it's like I ended up falling in love with one of them, right? And she's I know we talked about this in other shows. The one girl she's the only one that I really felt passion for anybody in my whole life, right? Now I know we had some guests on here the other day they were trying to tell me that it wasn't passion that I felt for her, or it wasn't love.
It wasn't
Yeah, it
love.
wasn't love for her. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to argue with the guests on the show here, but I'm like, hey, you know what? I know what I felt, right? I know what I felt. So you can call it something else, or whatever. That's, but for me, I was in love with this woman, and I'd known her for probably a year. But anyway, but we ended it because we thought it was best for her to stay with her family. And I was by myself, right? But I would rather be by myself than in a marriage where I didn't have that same level of love and passion that I had for this woman. Now that I know it exists within me, why put my wife through that anymore? Because I can't figure, if I haven't had it for 20 years, it's not going to happen. It wasn't like I had it when we were dating, and then all of a sudden I lost it somehow, and now help me figure out how to get it back. It was never there.
This is, I had a question about this very topic from a gentleman in his early 60s, and he wrote me and he said, I think he has been married 2 times prior. I'm not sure about that, but anyways, he is dating someone new. He's been dating her for months or at least a year or so, and she's starting to pressure him to, she wants more of a commitment, and he's holding back because he says, I really enjoy her company. She's a wonderful companion, but I don't feel that in love, passion feeling for her. And his question was, is that enough? Like, is it okay? Like, should I wait to get the whole thing, or can I have a satisfying relationship with someone without that, that certain kind of fire that's in there? And because at this point, his feeling is, after this length of time, if it's not there, it's probably not going to be there.
Right.
And what do I do? Is it okay to marry someone if you don't have that? So and I responded by saying that's such a personal decision to make, because and it may differ at different stages in life, or it may not differ at all. Some people really want and need to have that passion and that sense of, I am in love with this person. Now, anyone who's been married for a long period of time, though there are those rare marriages where it never goes away, but for most marriages, it comes and goes throughout the lifetime of a long relationship. So it's not like it's, don't count on it being there. But
right.
And other people, they're okay with, I love this person. I've grown to love this person. This person is important to me. I'm attached to this person. I have a deep caring for them. And that can be enough for me. There's enough there, good things there, that I'm not willing to throw it all away because this one piece is missing. I think it's just very personal.
Maybe when you're older, like you're in your 60s or 70s, and you just want to have a companion, like maybe you're not going to be like, well, she's not perfect or whatever, but you want to have that companionship. Maybe that's okay. Versus when you're like in your 30s and 40s.
I think it depends. It's so interesting because some people, their hormones shift and they kind of slow down in this area, and other people don't. I use my dad as an example.
I agree with that to a certain extent, because it has to be on the individual. Like for me, for example, I'm in my 50s, and I'm at that level where I can be with that one person and for the rest of my life, and I believe I found that person, so I'm good.
Yeah, it's, my dad is in his 80s, and let me tell you, he still needs passion in his life. He's incredible. Okay. And, I remember my ex-husband, I know I loved, it's been a long time now since I have to go back in memory, but at the time, I'm sure I loved him, and I had feelings of love and caring, but there wasn't that in love, passionate feeling. And at the time, I think because also I had babies and I had a lot of energy that was being put towards mothering, there was a lot of other things. But now, post divorce, passion is extremely important. And the older I get, now I just turned 52. Passion is like, it's a way up here. It seems to keep getting higher on the list. And I think, oh my God, what's going to happen if it's like this when I'm 75? Right. I got to find really either a young guy or a guy who's got a lot of Viagra. I'm not too sure which, one or the other.
Wow. So you really need it, huh? Okay. So.
Well, it's just I like that feel. Look,
getting hot in here.
Steven's not. He's getting back together with me now. He says, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have broken up with her."
Well, okay, so one thing, just to get back a little bit, about the mistrust issue and all that stuff. When my ex-wife, and I were trying to reconcile, I had to be completely open book, and I said, "Yeah, here's my at any given time, doesn't matter, go look at it, whatever."
Right.
And you want to check on my email, all my Facebook or all my passwords. Look at any time. I'm not hiding anything. Everything's completely open. And you know what? For me, the fact that I was concealing those two relationships, and then now actually I'm putting my all into trying to make this marriage work. It was like refreshing.
Oh, I'm sure it was
to not
freeing.
Be living like a double life, and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Very freeing, very freeing. And yet it was challenging for me because she kept coming up and very often would say stuff about how she still didn't trust me, right?
Right.
And I knew I gave her reason for it, right? But for us it was only 8 months, 8 months. But we
still
were like
fresh.
Yeah, still fresh.
Still fresh in the scheme of.
And I'm like, how many times do you want me to apologize about the same thing? I've apologized. And I will tell you that if I had that passion for her, right, which I wish that I had because she's a sweet person, but if I had that passion for her, I would have apologized for the rest of my days to be with her.
Right.
But because it was such a marginal, it was like more like friends, roommate type of thing anyway, it was like, do I want to go the rest of my life or years even, apologizing and I'm sorry. Yes, you're the only one. Yes, I love you.
So
this is it.
There wasn't a lot of motivation, internal motivation for you to really do the healing and really do what you could for her.
Yeah. And see, and I can't stand hurting people, right? I can't stand hurting anybody. And that's one of the reasons why I'm even like, it's so odd to me, like I was saying.
You don't want to hurt the woman at the dance club if you don't ask her to dance a second time.
Yeah, that's the exact same.
Look how quick you take
responsibility. That's the exact same thing.
You're such a good codependent.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt. I just like if I don't think that she's gonna be a good match for me, I don't really want to ask her to dance because then she's gonna want another dance with me, and or she's like. Or I'll ask some other girl to dance, and then she'll go, "Oh, I guess he didn't think I was very special because look, now he's asking somebody else to dance."
Back to the trust thing, just to kind of piggyback on that. I think that in the beginning, it's very helpful to have that kind of arrangement. My life is an open book to you. I've given up the right to privacy. You have earned the right to do whatever you need to do to start building trust again. At some point, it's important for someone to then release that. In other words, at some point you have to surrender and decide that you're going to trust again. Because you can't spend the energy, just like it's stressful and there's a lot of energy in concealing and hiding and secrecy and all that stuff, there's just as much energy in feeling like you have to be hypervigilant, always checking, non-trusting. It takes a tremendous amount of energy. And at some point when the timing is right, it requires, all right, I give it up. I'm going to trust you now. And it's a risk. It's an emotional risk. But there's also a freedom in that. There's a freedom in saying, until I have reason not to trust you, I'm going to release that and let it go. So
yeah, I felt sorry for her. I felt sorry for her that she was living this life of not trusting. Not that I didn't realize it was my fault. I mean, I realized that I caused this, right? But I felt sorry for her. And I know another couple that the husband and wife don't trust each other at all. And then he bought some sort of, for $100 and something, some sort of thing that can go onto their phone and they can check records and whatever, and like, it's like, what kind of life is that you're living this, mistrust life, and then you're having all this. That's what I don't understand is how can you have sex with somebody that you don't trust? And when you start talking,
people have sex with people all the time. I don't know well enough to trust.
And earlier in the conversation, you were talking about having sex with your exes, right?
Yeah.
That's where we started talking, and I'm like, how are you? If you don't trust this person, and think that you're moving forward with your relationship, how the heck can you be like deeply kissing this person and touching and caressing and penetrating and
all right, so relax a little bit because I can tell you're already so okay, it's a great question and we're out of time. Okay, so if you had a question and we're out of time, or you didn't feel comfortable picking up the phone, or you're at work and you can't pick up the phone, go ahead, email me your question. Email it at julieorlov.com. JULIE at JULIEORLOV.com. And I will do my best either to respond to your question by email, or I'll keep everything always anonymous. But maybe we'll take a little time each week. Maybe we can tackle one short question a week on the air, or we'll do something like that. But I will make sure that you are taken care of. So again, you can always reach me at julieorlov.com. Email me at julie@julieorlov.com. You can always reach Stephen at steventaco.com. And perfect. I'm glad that you have spent your time with us. It's been a pleasure. And you have been watching Pathways to Love. Julie Orlov, Stephen Taco, and we will see you here next Friday afternoon. So have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week. See you next week. Bye.